Hi, I'm Bill Sang, and today I'm going to be talking with my wife, Melissa, about her book, Wisdom for the Journey in Parenting 50 Simple Tips for Christian Moms and Dads. Since Mother's Day is coming up here pretty soon, we'd like to talk a little bit about this book. So, Melissa, come on in. I'd like you to talk about your book some. So, this is her book, Wisdom for the Journey in Parenting. And, Melissa, what sorts of things would you like to share about your book today?
I just want to talk about really how it came about. So in parenting, I've read a lot of books, just anything I could find really, from raising them when they're born all the way up to communicating with them. I've watched podcasts, I listened to podcasts and all sorts of things. So I knew that there was a little bit more that needed to be out there in terms of practically just really parenting. And so I started reading books about like relationships and how to communicate with others, how to listen effectively, how to bring people up. And so I combined that with verses I found in Scripture. So that kind of really formed the book.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting that you took scripture for one, which we don't always think about this, but it's applicable to everybody, not just adults. But then you also read some books and just studied up on how adults react to situations, and you're saying that you learned about how to interact with children that way as well. Are there any examples inside of your book of where you might have applied something like that?
Yes, and the example comes from Bringing Out the Best in People. So, something they said in that book was treat a man as if he already were what he potentially could be, and you will make him what he should be. So, I took that, I started to apply that, and I realized that it really works. I started considering the way I talk to our Jane and Carter and the way that we treat them. And I realized that it really helps so much when you bring them up. You're not, condemning them, but instead you're correcting them. And it's actually amazing to see the process, even the next day, them to realize, that they decided to change for the better, and that they know they're a better person, that they don't want to do things that really, bother us. And they, kids really want to please their parents. So what I did is I just included a lot of tips in my book that are really practical, and they just really bring out the best in your kids.
Well, that all sounds really common sense. So, what sorts of obstacles might parents have in responding to their children in such a way? Because that sounds it sounds very just sort of like it's very common sense. But why is it parents have a hard time applying those sorts of principles or even considering them?
Yeah, a lot of times we react to situations. So I think reading a book like this is helpful. You learn how to be proactive in the way you talk with your kids, and the way you do things around the home. So you're not really reacting, you're actually just correcting them, and in advance the way that they'll probably respond and what works best.
Okay, well, that's really good. So, do you have anything else you'd like to tell us about about your book before you wrap up?
One of the examples I like, I haven't included it in the book, but just to give you an idea of how to look at things differently. Well, when our kids, are giving us a hard time, making a lot of noise, being rowdy, screaming, just something, he does is he kind of does it along with them, and then they know what they look like, and they know how kind of absurd they're being. And so that kind of gives you an idea of just the different approach that I have in my book about parenting.
Okay. Well, I have to say that Melissa is an excellent wife and she's an excellent mother, so she's done a great job in raising our children. I'm glad you included me in there a little bit as well, so to see that we kind of work together with our parenting. But Melissa really is the one who is the expert in this area. And Melissa, where can they find your book?
They can find it at williamhsing.com and also at amazon.com.
That's right. We actually have a few copies here with us as well, so if you want a signed copy, contact us directly and we will make sure to get that to you. Well, Melissa, thank you so much. That, again, is Wisdom for the Journey in Parenting, 50 simple tips for Christian moms and dads. Thank you, Melissa.